All right, today at GW Finn's we're going to be doing a dish that sounds a little bit strange, but bear with me. It's a mushroom and oyster tart. And the first thing we're going to do is a good pie crust. Now the ingredients of that, there are 4 ingredients. I've got regular self-rising flour, I've got delicious pork lard, and fresh butter. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work the lard into the flour until it pretty much goes away. Okay, our lard is worked into the flour. Little pieces of fat in the crust are what make a flaky pie crust. I have the butter going in right now, and you can see that I've still got pieces of butter, but that's what I want. All right, I'm going to call that good, and we're going to stir in some cold water. All right, we've got a nice soft dough. You can see nice big pieces of butter in there, little pieces of lard. And I've got a roll of plastic wrap. I'm going to flour that a little bit, and I'm going to shape this and mash it out, because once I start rolling it, the flatter it is, the easier it's going to be. I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to leave a little bit of room on the edges because I'm going to mash it again, and I want it to be able to spread out. And at this point, it can go right in the freezer, and it's good to go. All right, here we have a piece that's rested for a while, and you can see that you can see the butter in there, you can see the little pieces of lard in there. And I'm going to flour the work table here fairly heavily, smear a little flour in there. And since this dough is wet, what I want to do, about every time I touch it with a pen, I want to spin it on the table. I'm going to make sure that it's not sticking. Okay, and to pick it up, I'm just going to roll it up on the pen like this. Oh, and then spread it out on the pan like that. That's going to go right in the cooler. And here I have one that I rolled out previously. I'm going to use this oyster lid for a cutter. I've got a small tin that I'm going to put this crust in. I had one that I'd already rolled out previously. We're going to bake both of them. All right, I'm going to put these in the oven for about 15 minutes. Now, halfway through the cooking process, I'm going to look in, and if they bubble up, we're just going to push the shell down with a finger. All right, our delicious crust is in the oven. Now we're going to saute our mushrooms and oysters. I've got 3 different kinds of mushrooms here. These are all domestic mushrooms. A little bit of oil, a little bit of butter, a little bit of shallots. I'm going to put these hen of the woods mushrooms in first. The same thing in the second saute pan here. I've got some shiitake mushrooms and some oyster mushrooms. I'm going to add a little bit of white wine. I've got a sauce here that I did not make while you're watching. It is included in the recipe, and this is a recipe that you can email me at cheftenney@gwfins.com. I'll be happy to send it to you. It is a oyster liquor, thickened slightly with a dark roux. And I'm also going to add some veal jus to that. It's a great flavors together. I've got a mixture of chopped herbs here, chives, chervil, and parsley. We're going to add that towards the end. I don't really want to cook them in there that much. Okay, this is our brown oyster sauce with the oyster liquor and brown roux. And I'm going to add just a little drop of veal jus. If you don't have the veal jus, don't worry about it. It's one of those things that's kind of hard to make at home. And now it's time to add the oysters. These are nice big P&J oysters. I put a little bit of Creole seasoning on them. The mushrooms are all the way done. The sauce is in the pan. And as we all know, oysters don't take very long to cook. Okay, as I said, sometimes even though we put holes in the crust, we've got some trying to bubble up. So I'm going to poke it back down to make it stay put a little bit. And they're almost done. All right, looks like our crusts are done. Nice and golden brown. Okay, I lined this with a little parchment paper. It's just easier to pick it up because it's a soft crust. I'm going to ease that out on the plate. I'm going to spoon in the oyster and mushroom. And actually, I've got too much oyster and mushroom for my one tart here. What I want to do while I'm doing this is I want to reduce this sauce a little bit. It's got such great flavor. And I'm going to put a little bit of my chopped Fiends herbs here, and I'm going to put a little bit in my sauce I'm making too. As soon as this reduces just a tad, I'm going to swirl in a piece of butter, and that's going to be the sauce on the plate. And that's thickening up nicely, so I'm just going to mount a little piece of butter in there. You can see how that butter thickens it up. And there we have it, our mushroom and oyster tart from GW Finn's.